Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock here on Monday night, May the 12th, time for the 14First Alert Weather Show at 9 p.m. I'm glad you're here, whether you're watching on Facebook, on our streaming platforms, or now on YouTube. I am watching your comments on 14 News Facebook page and also on YouTube. So if you have questions, comments, you can put them there, and I will try to answer those about midway through the program tonight. Well, we picked up a pretty nice day after all. We had some clouds and showers this morning, and there are still a few scattered showers showing on the radar. We'll get to those in a second. Thursday, though, through Friday, we may see additional severe weather potential. And this is a conditional threat, which I will get into here in detail. And one thing is certain, we are going to see above normal temperatures as we finish out the back half of the week. We do have some thunderstorms right now, most of them up here into Webster County. Nothing severe, but some lightning out there. Good lightning show if you're looking south from Henderson. And these storms are moving from the southeast to the northwest, everything rotating around a big area of low pressure. So if you're in Dixon right now, up to Seabreeze, some thunderstorms coming in. We can do a little track on here for you. In fact, there is a statement on those storms that we're looking at now, and they're anticipating 40-mile-per-hour winds and maybe some 3/4-inch hail. So just sub-severe if anything gets going down over Webster County. Again, with that loop here, and we'll do a quick storm track for you since you're watching here this evening. And the movement on these storms is basically to the, let's see here, to the northeast. Well, I got to read it. Oh, at 25. Okay, so if we do a storm track on that from the lead edge of it and then go back to the north here at 25, they are not moving very fast. So that's going to get us across the southern edge here of Henderson County, Union Hill Church there, 911, Jonesburg by 919, and we will just track again another little swatch of it there into Poole at 907, Rock Springs, Corridon 919, Wilson, and then there's an additional storm there just out to the north of Providence, moving to the north. That may come up here and clip Sturgis and the airport there by about 9:20 if they hold together. One thing about these storms is they are not particularly strong, meaning long-lasting, and so as they outrun the favorable dynamics, oftentimes they will weaken. But anyhow, that's where we are watching here this evening. You can tell the storms, at least over the tri-state, coming in from the south, but if you look back here over Missouri, they're going back down to the south. So they're actually rotating around a big area of low pressure, which is still centered here between Nashville and Memphis. Storm risk for tonight and tomorrow and even Wednesday, just general thunder. Doesn't mean we won't see a warning or two, but the possibility of that is actually pretty low. And then later in the week, we have a better chance if conditions come together. So through the day tomorrow, just a hit or miss shower or storm. Same thing on Wednesday, although to a lesser degree. I think Wednesday will be the driest day of the week. And then by the time Thursday rolls in, we will be capped, meaning the atmosphere will have warm air aloft, and that inhibits thunderstorms from growing. If the cap erodes, which typically it does either late at night or if it is acted upon by some sort of lifting mechanism like a cold front, we could see some thunderstorms developing, although it looks like the best chance is going to stay up here to our north, closer to Chicago. And then by Friday, the risk centers more on western Kentucky. I did want to show you a couple things I've been watching here, and you know, we've looked at this quite a bit here on the Weather Show, and you might see these things posted on social media. This is the Colorado State University machine learning probabilities, and this is AI taking a look at all of archived weather scenarios, or analogs as we call them, and then it's able to parse through and say, well, given these conditions, you know, last 100 times this is what happened. And the MLP, or machine learning, has basically put the best chance for severe to the north. I think you can see that pretty well. Here's the tri-state down where my finger is. So the higher probability is to our north. We are still in a risk, but again, it's conditional based on whether or not we break the cap. And then Friday, it's more of a widespread, not a focused risk there over much of the Ohio Valley. So these outlooks are much different than the ones we were seeing back in April when we had the big outbreaks of severe weather and there was a very clear bullseye and focus. This is more typical late spring, early summer scenario where you have warm, humid air with a lot of energy in it anyway, and if you can get thunderstorms going, then yes, sometimes they can become severe. We'll look at some of the other ingredients here for severe weather. So Thursday afternoon, this is the low-level jet, which sometimes can enhance thunderstorm development, and you see it is developing here and stronger in the afternoon hours on Thursday, and then Friday not so much, especially in the afternoon and evening. The interesting thing here is, at least on the GFS model, there's very little shear showing up. Now, you don't need shear to get severe weather. You can have high cape, low shear environment would favor hail and wind and so forth. But typically, when you start seeing more shear, then you're looking at more of a tornado threat. Dew points for Thursday, Friday are going to be quite juicy as we get that temperature close to 90. The dew point could creep right on up into the upper 60s. So it's going to be hot and humid to finish the week. And sometimes that, as you know, contributes to thunderstorm development. Cape, the potential energy, lots of it. With those high temperatures, you would expect that. And so again, I'm talking right now about an environment that we call high cape but low shear, meaning there's plenty of energy, just not a lot of twist. And so that will oftentimes favor either hail or a damaging wind threat with thunderstorms that develop. The supercell index showing at least, the possibility of a couple severe or supercells across the region Thursday afternoon, and then maybe again to a greater degree on Friday. And finally, the tornado threat index, while not huge, it's definitely present on Thursday and Friday. So what to make of all of this? Right now, we're still kind of watching. I'd like to see one more run of model data. So one's coming in or will be coming in here shortly. And then tomorrow morning, Byron Douglas will make the call. We've talked today and Michael over the weekend, and none of us really felt a conviction that this was imminent. And so we don't like to just throw alert days on the board and get everybody, in a panic. Not that it would, but we're watching the day is my point. And so tomorrow, if things are still coming together, then yeah, we'll probably put first alert weather days for Thursday and Friday. It was really hot in the northern plains today. 86 is the current temperature in Fargo. We had 90s up there today, 90s all the way over into Minnesota, right up in here. And that heat will now sink down into the southern plains tomorrow into Texas and Oklahoma. Here at home, we have more late spring type temps out there, mid 60s to upper 60s across the region. We hit 78 today, a couple degrees warmer than normal, and only got down to 64 this morning. For the month now, we have had enough cooler than normal days. We are still trending a little under average for temperatures, and we picked up 0.06 of an inch of rain this morning. I did not add that to our rain total yet because we still may get some tonight. But for the month, we're still in good shape on rainfall, and of course the year has been wetter than normal. And there's that 2.5 degree below average temperature thus far. So tomorrow it's going to be warm again. Temps will climb into the upper 70s, and it wouldn't surprise me to see a few thunderstorms firing in the afternoon. You can see that area of low pressure rotating down here to our south, and that was pretty well predicted and shown by the models late last week. So this is behaving as expected. As we go forward in the models, this is when it gets a little less clear on how things will evolve. Wednesday looks like the driest day on all models that I've looked at. And then toward the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, we're anticipating a cold front to develop right in here and push toward the tri-state. Now, a cold front obviously would, or maybe not obviously, but generally, if you get enough motion with a cold front, it will force the air aloft and you can break the cap that way. However, the temperatures are going to be very warm, upper 80s, maybe even some 90s in the tri-state Thursday, Friday, and that may at least stave off the thunderstorm development until very late. This is Wednesday going into Thursday. Still a southerly wind coming in. By the afternoon and evening, we're seeing a few thunderstorms noted there on the GFS. And then Friday evening looks like the better chance for showers and storms to appear and move in and out. Saturday dry. Sunday more showers and storms possible. So if you're trying to paint or mow your lawn or or have a wedding, anything outdoors, it's going to be still a little tricky to time it to get that day to line up with being outdoors. Although Mother's Day was wonderful. I hope everybody enjoyed that beautiful weather we had yesterday. Rainfall could be quite wet, of course, over the next week with all those chances for rain. Let's look at the European just for comparison. Wednesday it has us dry. Thursday, excuse me, mainly dry. And this is one of the other reasons we didn't hop on the alert day right off the bat. The European has been very conservative in developing thunderstorms across the area. And even through Friday, not a lot happening in here until maybe very late Friday night, early Saturday. So yeah, that's anytime there's a discrepancy, you kind of tread cautiously. And then rain moving in next week on the European. And it's rainfall, consequently, because of the soft pedaling or more conservative approach to generating thunderstorms, it's also much lighter on rainfall. The GFS tends to overdo rain often, not always, but often. Little blip in the pressure there Friday as that low pressure comes through. Otherwise, we will have very little fluctuation in the pressure. It'll just be kind of lower across the board. A few scattered thunderstorms likely tonight, as you saw on the radar. 76 tomorrow for the high with a few scattered showers, and then that chance drops down to 20%. All of the probability modeling is very low for Thursday, Friday, like a 20 to 25% chance for rain. And for that reason, too, we're thinking, well, the coverage, the frequency, and so forth, maybe not up there with an event that would be disruptive for many. So, like I said, it's Monday. We've got time here to parse this out. Longer range, temperatures return to normal, and it gets wetter than normal. And, oh, I didn't turn Zoe the other way. I can do that for us here real quick. We're going to do pet pick. We want to do it right. And we will get Zoe oriented here in the correct way. Just one day, I'd like to come on here and have all my ducks in a row. Okay. Oh, there we go. Wasn't that slick? So this is Zoe, 7 weeks old, a puppy, I guess, still. I guess 7 weeks would still count as a puppy. And this is from Lana Sisson. So thank you. And I apologize. You know what? As long as we're in here, if we want to retouch the photo a little bit, we can make Zoe much larger. I usually exaggerate the aspect ratio a little bit so that they show up better here on my TV screen. So we'll give Zoe a little love there while I look at your questions. Okay, let me get out of this, and we'll go back to that, and then we will move right along. There we go. Okay, we're good. Let's see what is on your mind this evening here. So we will get it here in a second. All right. I'm just having issues tonight. I don't know what else to tell you about me. Cannot get the stuff where I want it when I want it. Okay. Well, please stand by. That's what they used to say. That's what I'm saying right now. There we are. All right. Now I'm on the Facebook page here. We're cooking with gas. I can read your questions. Oh, Janet Baumgart, it's grad ceremonies for me. Oh, this weekend, I guess. Okay, well, hopefully we'll squeeze one in there. Minerva Lovell, fishing tournament this weekend at Dolan's Lake, and you're camping. All right, are you going for crappies, bass? I guess tournament is probably bass, right? I don't think they do tournaments for bluegills. Maybe just for the most, biggest, and all that. You fill us in on this, thing. Keela Vandy, is it going to be bad? We could have some strong thunderstorms Thursday, Friday. That wouldn't be out of the realm of, normal around here. Will it be bad? I guess that's subjective. If the thunderstorm knocks down your tree, then yeah, it's bad. But I think overall, it'll be kind of garden variety severe weather like we have here in the spring. James Allen Garrison, when's my next vacation? Have I made any plans on where I want to go? No, I haven't. I'll be in northern Indiana at a family reunion over the summer. I know that one, and I have a couple of other ideas, but I have not really inked anything in on the old weather calendar back there. You have to do that early. William Raleigh, .08 so far near Bossy Field. I'm sure they love you, although the team's on the road, I think, this week, or at least the first couple days of the week. Jeff Miller reporting a nice evening in Savaw. Laura Gray's watching from Dawson Springs. We appreciate that, Laura. Thank you. And what about the weekend? That has come up again. So weekend-wise, it looked like Saturday would be dry. Sunday, maybe some rain coming in early. That was kind of my takeaway from that. All right. Meanwhile, on YouTube, we've got Evan Grant saying hello. Almost 20 degrees warmer in Fargo than New Orleans. Evan Grant, it is really wild heat wave up there, and of course the mid-south and south bracing for possible flooding, heavy rain event. So we've had a very active spring across much of the United States, including the tri-state here as well. So we will go back to, I think I got the Science Corner here for you. I thought I had it queued up. We'll get that going over here. Okay, so I thought this was interesting, and maybe you will too, and maybe you won't, I don't know. But I was thinking, with all the rain that we've had this year, we kind of take water for granted until it causes problems like flooding. And you saw the flooding that they had down at Beaver Dam last week in that flash flood at the amphitheater, where the cars were all parked on low land around the amphitheater, and then it rained and there was a flash flood warning, but then the flooding didn't happen for a couple of hours, which from a warning standpoint, that's a great warning, 2 hours lead time. But of course, on the other hand, you're thinking, well, it's not flooding yet, but there's a reason that flash flood warnings are usually 4 or 5 hours long, and that's why. But water in general, there's a lot about it that we kind of take for granted. One part is just how much of this planet that we live on is water. In fact, 96.5% of our water supply, now not the coverage, the water that we use on Earth, or that have on Earth, is in the oceans. It's like our big bank out there, and 71% of the planet is covered by water. You probably remember that from grade school or middle school. Over land, though, and this is what really knocked my socks off, and this is my livelihood, meteorology. It's all about the moisture in the atmosphere. Of all that moisture I just showed you, with 98 point whatever in the ocean, only I guess that would be 1,000th of a percent or a 10,000th of a percent, it's a very low number, is in the atmosphere. And yet, with that small percentage of our Earth's water in the atmosphere, we get tremendous variety in weather, flooding, hurricanes, all that kind of stuff, all from water transport through the atmosphere. If all of that rain fell right now, it would cover the Earth with 1 inch of rain, which doesn't seem like much, right? But consider that an inch of rain on, say, a football field would be about 27,000 gallons of water, right? About a size of a pretty good size swimming pool. So a lot of water, right? And in addition to that, much of our water is tied up either in glaciers or ice, about 68% of it. The remaining 30% of the water is in groundwater. So your wells, your underground streams or aquifers, things like that. So that's where it all is. And then remember, we need water to live, right? In fact, water is the marker for life on a planet. And when NASA is exploring the universe, they're always looking for water or signs of water or ice on a planet like Mars and different things like that. Only 3.5% of the water on Earth is fresh. The rest of it is salt water. And of that 3.5%, you saw a good chunk of it is either frozen or down in the ground. So even though, especially here in the tri-state, we don't really have to think much about conserving water or worrying about a water supply, it's actually quite scarce if you look at it on a global pattern, or at least fresh water is. And also another interesting fact, these are things that I get interested in. So ocean water, if you wanted to make it, the same salinity, make it yourself, you would take a gallon of water and a cup of salt, and that would be roughly equivalent to what you would find in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Now there are places, of course, where the salinity would be higher or lower depending on, other factors out there. Isn't that wild? Water is one of the very few substances that can exist in all three states. Not Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky, solid liquid gas. So you can have all three of those conditions and at temperatures that we can observe here on Earth. And there are many times in weather where you have all three modes of water. You would have the gas or the water vapor going up through the atmosphere. You would have liquid, of course, rain and hail, sleet, snow, that sort of thing would be the frozen mode. So it's quite interesting how all of this plays together. And of course, our weather would be nothing without water, right? I wouldn't have anything to talk about every night. So anyway, something a little interesting. And James Allen Garrison also notes crazy that water is the strongest force in nature. I would agree with that because, you look at the Grand Canyon, right? Completely carved by water and time. Now, water isn't necessarily a speedy agent of change like, say, a tornado or an earthquake would be. But given enough time, water can do incredible things. Think of the canyons, think of Mammoth Cave here close to us and all the caves. So yeah, I think water sometimes gets overlooked. It's kind of underrated and overlooked in weather, even though it's the very basis for what I have made a career of talking about. Keela Vandy says we have lightning and thunder, and I think Keela's down either in Webster or Hopkins County, aren't you? Christopher Perna wants to know my thoughts on Thursday. So Thursday, I think the situation, at least right now, is it looks like we're going to be capped most of the day. Warm air over cooler air at the surface, meaning that the thunderstorms will be inhibited, difficult for them to grow. And with that in place, we have what I would call, or what would be called a conditional risk, meaning if the cap breaks, yes, we will see severe weather, and it could be the usual hazards, large hail damaging winds, tornadoes. If the cap doesn't break, we won't see anything other than sunny, hot, and humid. Oftentimes that cap will then weaken at night as things cool down, the temperature equalizes. So it could be later in the evening that we get showers and storms. We're watching, believe me, we are watching. So, keep an eye on it too, and we'll circle back around tomorrow and talk about it in a little more detail as we get closer. All right, well, Morganfield has thunder and lightning too. Yeah, we'll go back around to the radar here one more time. Since you're here, of course, it's almost better than radar just to have these reports streaming in here on our live show, which is why we do this. It's interactive. All right, so right now, since I've been talking, and I've been on here about 20 minutes, we were tracking these thunderstorms over Henderson County. And I'm going to do a track for you here. I want to try to get this so you can see it a little better. So there's Henderson County. So we're down, actually it would be like Niagara, Poole would be down here, Corydon. And those storms were moving to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So if we just basically draw a line like this or a track on it, it'll reach Corydon at 9:28. So that's about 4 or 5 minutes from now. You're probably hearing thunder already. St. John's Community Church, these are some of the landmarks that we have in our database here to hopefully make the information a little more useful to you. Waverly, 9:27. Again, that storm just kind of, moving along, but it's also weakening. And because these are not really driven by a a cold front or some strong lifting device, they more or less pulse up, do their thing, and move on. So if it holds together, yeah, it'll make it up into Union County and also maybe Posey County up here too. There are no warnings on these storms. We're not anticipating any tonight. Just a little thunderstorm to lull you to sleep, if that's your thing. If you hate thunderstorms, well, then it won't lull you to sleep, but these are pretty benign. I'll check for hail here real quick. I don't think we're going to see anything on the hail detection. We will give it a second here to refresh, but yeah, maybe pea-sized hail there around Corydon if it is able to get through, and there's virtually no wind shear in there. A little bit of wind showing there just to the south of Corydon, maybe 35 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Okay, so there could be some wind, or there will be some wind, but it is going to be in little pockets here as that thunderstorm moves through. So basically just a big, healthy, typical thunderstorm for here in the tri-state. And there will be more of those overnight, off and on, and then again tomorrow too. All right, so that's pretty much what we're looking at. On 14 News at 10 tonight, I'll have, of course, hopefully the newer data for what we're expecting at the end of the week. And then I will see you tomorrow in here at 9 o'clock. And I appreciate you watching tonight and every night. Thanks a lot. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.